I don't mean to start the episode with something so personal, but I had to share. It is time to sit down with our manifestations for the month to think about what we want to continue working on and accomplishing, and to dwell in all the possibilities. Let's get to it. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Graciela Moore. I am an ICF certified coach, and I wrote Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace 2026 Manifestation Agenda/Journal. By the end of the episode, you should be able to identify what stories are emerging in your life or what possibilities are really there for you to take a look at. I'm hoping that you will be able to distinguish between things that are there to really keep you on track or things that are just there as distractions or possibilities that you are allowed to shelf while you focus on the real work. I'm hoping you will determine clear and functional intentions. Use the questions and the affirmations on the agenda to be your checkpoints. In this book, you get 400 pages to plan a year ahead, focus specifically on manifestations and small steps that get you there. And so we start the month with Emily Dickinson, I Dwell in Possibility. And there is so much happening, so much that led to this episode. My voice has been so raspy, but inexplicably. So I'm still not sure if this is going to progress into something else or if I should just rest my voice. And the month of June could be chaotic. You might be hearing in your algorithm that June's astrology will be huge, but it will honestly be huge in a good way, not in a bad way. And so I'm so excited, but at the same time, there have been shifts in the personal, things with family, things of grief. And so coming into this episode, I had a different mindset about what the garden of infinite possibilities would be or look like. And then I was pulled into my roots and the grief of losing someone in the family. This right here, this anchor of a book continues to remind me that the vision and the work that I am putting into this little by little is fleshing out to be this or that, this path or this path or this path. And that's what I feel like the month of June will bring us. As you know, we're slow living by the moon. Here, this is about coming back and the cycles, and that's why, the moon. The bottom line is slowing down. I shared on my Twitter something that my sweet friend and author, Venny, liked and resonated with. And that is that slowing down is the vantage point from which all possibilities are visible. Because in the era of moving so automatically from one thing to the next, the pause is everything. The longest fire is the one you tend nice and slow. If you're looking for a bonfire that just suits a need, maybe you just want s'mores for dessert. And now I'm getting into a metaphor, but I will get to the mumbo jumbo of the episode in a second. But here's the metaphor that I'm trying to get to because it's the year of the horse. And I mentioned before that last year in 2025, when I was sitting down writing this agenda, I noticed the pattern of fire. A lot of months are going to start with a moon in a fire sign, or a few of the moon days are going to be with a moon in a fire sign, much like today with the moon in Sagittarius coming out of that blue moon. It's June 1st, so here we are. But the thing about fire is that, again, let's go back to the metaphor I was just getting to. If you just want to have a few s'mores for dessert, and this is more of a social thing that is temporary, then you might throw a bunch of bricks in the fire and make it big and make a spectacle. And that's okay if that is the rooted intention of what you're building the fire for. But if you're building the fire to keep you warm the longest, if you're building the fire for longevity, if you're building the fire to leave a legacy, want to build the kind of fire that when you wake up 12 hours later, there's still an ember burning, then you have to do it slow and you have to nurture it little by little. And that's what this book continues to be for me, for us, for anybody watching who has been following this journey since 2023. It's interesting because the agenda first launched in 2023, but Moon Magic and Mindfulness as a weekly episode launched in 2022. Every month, you have your calendar and the special dates. So we woke up to a brand new month with a waning gibbous in Sagittarius. Now, whatever that blue moon illuminated, the waning gibbous and waning crescent down to the new moon is the time to process. You're not meant to process everything in one day. We're not meant to do anything in one day. Whatever the full moon illuminated, we're going to take our time with. Remember, nice and slow is how this fire continues growing. We obviously have the summer solstice happening and the full moon in Capricorn, which should be really interesting. Now, every month, as you know, what are our intentions? What are your intentions for the month? Last month, well, why don't we take a look at what my intentions were last month, and let's take a look at whether I did that or not. So, my intention for this month was to nurture the Spanish Substack. So let's talk about it. As one of the forking paths in front of me, because really, that's what dwelling in possibility is. Notice how the quote of the month doesn't say, I stand in possibility or I hope in possibility. She says, I dwell. And dwelling is about staying. Dwelling is about slowing down and getting to rest wherever it is that you're dwelling. And so when there is so many possibilities in front of you, what is the vantage point from where you're looking at them? And how are you deciding, or what is the deciding factor for you to move into this path and not this one or this one? And I have been focusing on this concept for a few months now. And so, one of the things that came from me dwelling in that space where I get to see all of the things that one book could turn into, I realized that I have been publishing in English for over 20 years now. Some of it in Spanglish, some of it in English. And my journal is mostly English, but I do have writing in Spanish. And yet, none of it is on a dedicated social media account. And so in March, I stood in that point where I got to dwell for a little bit. And I saw how the moon magic and mindfulness with grace continues to grow into some amazing things that I am working on that we can talk about later on, but that are still hush hush, but that are also in my intentions of this month moving forward, etc. But back in March, I was dwelling in that spot and I realized that I could make a social media account. And so I did. Once I launched it, it opened up a whole new world because now I'm thinking more in Spanish. Now I'm thinking more about not only the work that I can share that's already there, but the new work that I'm writing now. So, all of these possibilities. And then after a month of navigating the Substack website, which I will put the link in the description. If you speak Spanish, si hablas español, pues he sacado un Substack, todo en español, redescubriendo la semilla que pensé que se había perdido, pero no se ha perdido, está ahí. Y entonces sigo publicando, and I'll keep publishing every single week. But after a month of navigating that website, another path emerged. I realized that there's a little button on the left that says podcast. And then I realize another path opens up, or several forking paths open up. And I click on that podcast button. That Substack can host your podcast and simultaneously share it with all the other hosts. Now, here's the thing, looping around, and in the end, this is the lesson that I really want to focus on because not all the paths are meant for you to follow them, no matter how inviting they might be. Some of them are fairy traps, right? There's side quests, and some side quests are really focused on your purpose and they're really focused on the things that you've been building and the intentions that you have been planting. And other side quests open up and they're really just meant to distract you. And I'm not saying that turning my work from Spanish into a podcast is a possibility that I'm completely going to ignore. But I slow down because having a platform host a podcast and have them distribute it to other platforms is exactly how Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace started back in 2022. And the host was Fireside. Maybe you don't know Fireside. Maybe you do. If you do, then you know what happened. And if you don't, the bottom line is that a lot of the creators, like myself, suddenly were not in the platform anymore. And neither was our audience. So, with Fireside closing the door, which actually, if you go down here on the live playlist, all of those live episodes, some of them might even be tagged in the corner with the Fireside water sign, which means I was live on the Fireside app with my guests, and that episode was simultaneously casted to YouTube Live and to Spotify. But when Fireside closed its doors to us creators, I decided to do it like this exclusively and learned the lesson about a host platform, simulcasting to others, and what that could mean in the long run. Because when I lost access to my Fireside host account, I also lost access to my Spotify podcast. All of this to say, we have to slow down in order to really see how things resonate, really see how things might be trying to loop us back, which is what this felt like. And I honestly probably will be doing the Spanish podcast because I want to share more of my voice in my native language. But the bottom line is, it doesn't have to be today. Just because I saw the button there and I know what that button can do, just because the door is open, doesn't mean I have to go through right now. And if later on the button is not available, if later on the door suddenly closes, well, then there's a garden of forking paths right in front at my disposal. 1, 2, 3 steps. All it takes is one step in a direction different than you are right now. And there another path opens. And so, y'all, between the loss of a loved one and all of this work, getting to share my writing with better readers is also something that I had been envisioning for the longest time. And here we are, 2026. And if you're a beta and you're watching this and you haven't gotten back to me with my feedback, please check in. That would be nice. But just getting to share and know that I took that step of sharing my work privately with a group of readers and just some questions to see how this resonated or not. Oh, I'm so grateful and honored that people said yes and that y'all took the time to read the work and answer the questions. I am filled with gratitude because you're making the dream come true with just those little steps. You're contributing to the paths that I am forking on little by little myself, not just the possibilities that come along the way and sparkle and my eye catches them. Here's another one. I posted on Twitter, because we still call it Twitter, right? I posted on Twitter a video of my son's dinosaurs. There's like 100 of them. And the caption said, "When you give a boy a dinosaur," period. But somebody commented and said, "I'm hooked. I want to know what happens next with this title." But that was never a title of a story. Or was it? I could definitely write a children's book. Anybody could. If I get playful enough. But that doesn't mean I have to write it right now. So we start the month with this waning gibbous in Sagittarius, and the affirmation from the book is very direct, much like Sagittarius, the archer. Arrow of truth, guide my sight. I release the clutter and keep the light. Knowledge turns to thriving practice. Through ending's fire, that blue moon, my spirit leaps. Because this is about joy. With Jupiter being conjunct with Venus in Cancer, this is about luck, joy, community, excitement, but also about feeling good with yourself, Cancer, your home, with family. That's Cancer. That's the moon. By the 10th, we have a last quarter moon in Pisces. And remember what I said about the waning process of leading into that new moon and how that is the moment to figure out, to make sense, and to track what it is that you need to release. What are you emotionally cleansing? I know that everybody online will tell you that the full moon is the day that you have to release or burn whatever it is that you want to burn or let go of whatever it is that you have to let go. The blue moon was perfect for cord cuttings, yes, and it was perfect for letting go of old versions of you that no longer serve you. But that is not done in just one day. Nothing is. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There shouldn't be any pressure for us to get to things on one day because things are just not done in one day. The last quarter moon in Pisces marks a checkpoint where we get to also decide what we want to focus on and how to continue moving forward. The affirmation for this week from the agenda: under waves of fading night, I cleanse the heart. I set things right. The tide recedes. Old dreams drift free. I trust what flows is meant to be. I trust what flows is meant to be. This week is going to be about what am I really tending to? And how is that really resonating with me? How is this fire that I'm putting logs in resonating with me? In contrast to what am I letting go of? What is it that I am ready to not tolerate anymore? As always, this is going to resonate differently for everybody because every sign is different. But in all honesty, this month is all about those mutable signs. Now, the new moon in Gemini is perfect for intentions set about community building. So, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you to everyone that has supported the journey since the beginning, and thank you to everyone who continues to join us every single week. Thank you for sharing the episodes and let me know how this new format resonates. I keep thinking about all of these possibilities and some of the things that I have been implementing in an effort to integrate the things that I learn is SEO and being visible online and doing things on the back end like writing copy or using specific hashtags or fixing the YouTube page in a way that hopefully makes it more visible and brings it in front of the eyes that I want to continue to connect with, people who are committed to journaling their way through life because it helps us make sense of it all. It helps us continue to manifest and script out the things that we can see, the visions that we are literally working on. And so here we are. And thank you because I couldn't be here without the people who have supported me this whole time. If you're also a Patreon subscriber, $5 a month to support all of this work, then thank you. And if you're brand new here, please consider subscribing. That way, in the middle of the month, when I release the monthly meditation, you will be notified and you won't miss it. The new moon is always a good opportunity to plant the seeds of intention. So, 2 questions. What stories? Here are the stories again. What stories or self descriptions am I ready to rewrite in order to reflect who I truly am now? Now, in light of some of the personal grief that I got to experience this weekend with my family, I feel like One story or self description that I would could be ready to rewrite right now as we speak is the version of me who wouldn't have brought it up at all. The version of me who would have done her makeup and hid the fact that my eyes are puffy. I'm using a filter, so maybe that's why you can't see it. But instead, I decided to put on my sweater, throw a little mascara on and lip gloss and nothing else, and come sit down and do this because the work is important to me, because you're important to me, because this matters to me so much. And so there was a version of me who wouldn't have pressured myself about doing my makeup and showing up in a very specific way and not bring up the fact that our Titi Nancy just passed away this weekend. So here is this version of me who holds space for that kind of grief because we were all going through it. Question number 2, where can I create more space for listening and genuine curiosity in my connections? I mean, I long to continue building these connections and continue holding space for you and for the people who continue to resonate with this work and who are doing the hard work of sharing their story and helping the world. So, creating more space means creating more time. And what I've noticed from dwelling in this vantage point where all possibilities are visible is that when I slow down, so does time. So, think about that the next time you think about how to make more space for something. The affirmation for this new moon, twins of air, awaken my mind to speak with truth, to listen kind. I plant new words, I breathe new thought. The seeds of clarity I have now sought. May questions bloom like morning stars and laughter echo through the air. With every word I plant a connection growing everywhere. The reason why there might be a little drama or fear mongering about the month of June and the astrology of it is because Chiron is going to enter Taurus. And so all of our wounds are going to be materialized. That's pretty much what that is. Taurus is the fixed sign that is all about the 3D. Like that's what Taurus is, the 3D. Taurus is your body. Taurus is the air you breathe. Taurus is your five senses or eight senses. Taurus is your experience. And so Chiron the wounded healer entering the 3D means that your triggers might become very visible. There might be one of the forks in the path that says, look at me. Woe me, I am wounded. Look at me, I am a victim. Look at me. And so there has to be discernment. And I don't want to negate or invalidate anybody's experience. But if this pisses you off, then I want to know in the comments because from what I'm learning and from this vantage point, this is the bottom line. Whatever it is that you're feeling wounded about, whatever it is that you're standing on, complaining about it being a problem, if you're just looking at it and complaining, then you're not doing anything productive. So, whatever Chiron brings up for you this month entering Taurus and staying there for a little bit is for us to feel through and continue focusing on the forking paths that we are gardening, if you will, because it's a garden of forking paths. So let's go back to mid month on the 15th when we have a waxing crescent in Cancer. And remember, Jupiter and Venus are conjunct in the sign of Cancer. So it might feel really big, whatever happens for you this month. Moon of milk and memory sweet, guard the roots beneath my feet. With heart and home, I weave the start of sacred dreams that feed the heart. Something else that you might feel or hear a little fear mongering about is Mars also entering Taurus. Because now we not only have the complaint and the wound and the woe me of it all, but we have the planet of aggression, the planet that wants to throw a fit about the wound. And so, continuing to slow down is going to be really handy for anyone feeling the very legitimate anger that we might be feeling about the things that we are called to heal. So let me know how that resonates. By the 22nd, we have a first quarter in Libra. So moon, balance, grace, art, align my voice with what's in my heart. I act with peace, yet stand in might. Justice and beauty guide my sight. Justice and beauty guide my sight, which means if one of the forking paths is not reflective of the fairness that I value, then I'm going to turn into a forking path that reflects what my values are. Venus in Cancer conjunct Jupiter will be highlighting all that we value and all that we put our worth into or lack thereof. If it's taking me away from that, then I'm going back to the plan. That's what I love about the agenda. And so by the 29th, with that full moon in Capricorn, that might bring up a lot of drama. That's when we reach for the tools that we already have in place. There's this saying, there's this, little meme that our brains have been reduced to, right? About having your ducks in a row. But you don't really need to have the ducks in a row. We just need to know where the ducks are and which one needs to be prioritized over the other one. And so by the 29th, hopefully we have tended the fire long enough that we can just anchor ourselves to continue moving forward. What emotional needs am I overlooking in pursuit of my goals? And how can I honor both? What emotional needs am I overlooking in pursuit of my goals? And how can I honor both? Now, I am ahead of the curve because by the time that I'm recording this episode, I have already answered this question for myself. I needed to prioritize my sleep. And so now I am. And this is actually the latest I've stayed up in a while. Now that I shifted how I handle this content, I do this once a month instead of every week. By doing that, I was able to prioritize my sleep. So I have that advantage. You let me know what emotional needs you might be overlooking that now you might be getting pulled to look at those possibilities and decide what you're going to do about them. Question number 2 for this full moon in Capricorn: what personal boundary or responsibility is asking for a firmer, more loving structure? I will be honest and say homeschooling is 100% the one responsibility that is calling me and asking for a loving, firmer structure. If only because it's June, so we are almost done with first grade. And so we are on that last home stretch that we need to continue hitting all the marks to get to second grade. So kudos to the kiddo who continues to grow and learn, and kudos to me for tightening the grip on that responsibility, on that forking path ahead of me that I am not walking down alone. Very important to consider the people in your life or the people that you want to include in your life along the path that you are forging. The affirmation for that Capricorn moon: may steady hands shape sacred goals, and gentle hearts keep rhythm true. What's meant to last will find its form through all I give and all I do. Safe in my truth, my heart expands to give and receive with open hands. And so it is. If that does not say Venus conjunct Jupiter in Cancer with a full moon in Capricorn, I don't know what does. And that concludes the month of June. If you've made it to the end of the episode right as I posted it, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching a whole month forecast in one sitting. Now, if you are one of the watchers who likes to pause and come back to it every week as you continue to fill out your journal, then thank you for doing the work. Thank you for continuing to return to the channel. I am grateful for you specifically because you coming back to my channel, maybe week by week or month by month, helps tell the algorithm that my channel matters, that this work is resonating. The algorithm doesn't know itself that this work is important work. And I'm going to say that proudly because I've been at this now for 5 years. So more work is coming. More things continue to evolve just from the Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace podcast. Next year, all of this work will be in Spanish as well, and I will leave that as the very first seed of intention for the work that is coming. In the description, you have links for one-on-one appointments if you're looking for guidance and specific moments to slow down, to be able to assess what all of those pathways ahead of you are. Let's get on the calendar. I love you all so much. Thank you for going through this journey with me. I'm going to get emotional, so I'm trying not to. Thank you for reading and for just being here. I love you very much. Have a good night.